two kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now, joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
Was poppin'. Welcome, Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And welcome to the YouTube Livey. And today we're going to be talking about some framework, okay? Brand building framework. We're going to talk about from branding to the bag. That's what I'm excited about.
I like
branding
that. I like
to
the
the
double
bag.
B.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I figured we've been brand heavy for a little bit, for like a few weeks or whatever, I'm in a phase of talking about the bag. I know Moose always loves talking about that part and getting you to scale and everything. So we're going to talk about it, but of course, do us a favor, like this live, share this live, and if we add any kind of value, two ways you can support. One, if you're watching this live, hit the super chat. If you're watching this replay, hit the super thanks. It's like tipping the creators, and we would appreciate it. And of course, episode 92 dropped today. You know what I mean? Really good conversations. I am now obsessed with FaZe Clan, and hopefully you guys listen to the after show because we got real busy with the whole FaZe Clan situation, but I'm obsessed with FaZe Clan now and how's that apply to, you know, people's brands and community building and monetizing. I feel like at this moment, after watching it and researching, I've just been doing things a little bit backwards. I've been doing things a little bit backwards, but it's okay.
It happens. It happens.
Listen, I'm okay with that. I'm here to make changes.
That's right.
Here to make changes. Moose, how are we feeling?
Man, pretty good. Pretty good. It's been busy.
You looking clear?
Busy.
Your skin looks clear.
Thanks. I got a little lineup today. I don't know if you could tell.
Okay. All right. We see it.
I cleaned up. Yeah, I got cleaned up. No, it's funny. I just switched. I kind of knew it. Surprisingly, it wasn't my ISO this time. It was something else. So, I just made the switch real quick while you had the intro rolling. So, no, I feel good, man. It's been busy. It's been a lot of kind of personal errands with just the fam and things happening. But we're locking in past Thursday. We should be pretty straight. But shout out to everyone who's joining us for the first time. I see Majestic Queen vibes here. It seems like what could be the first time. I don't know if it is your first time. Welcome. If it's not your first time, welcome back. It'll be the first time in a while. Abby, shout out to you, Abby. Share this, man. Share this. I'm excited. That's the one thing that I said I'm going to be more intentional about doing, which is simply saying, share this with a friend. We talking some good talk today, especially. So make sure y'all tap in with us, man. I think it's gonna be a great conversation to help you guys get to the bag, especially at a time of what people are saying is a recession, a lot of craziness, gas too expensive, just a lot going on. It's too much going on. So let us help you. You know what I'm saying? Level up. It's going to be a good talk.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, I'll set it up a little bit as far as why this topic. And Moose kind of hinted it a little bit with the whole recession talk, or I'm not here for like the different seasons of the lows that we're going to get. This is just a conversation that always needs to happen, right? Like, what is the steps of building your brand that's not just for play? Like, you're not just doing this because you love it. Like, it's great that you love it. Absolutely. Right? But we want to do things that we love that is eventually going to make us some money and create generational wealth down the line, right? So, but there's certain basic foundations that we need to cover, right? We need to cover things like, brand identity. We need to cover as far as purpose from an impact and a monetization standpoint. We need to cover certain ideas. We need to cover certain business structures, right? So it was when Moose asked, like, okay, what are we talking about? I was like, yeah, we got to talk about this. Just tap in a little bit. We halfway in the year. We halfway. So it's not too late to create it. It's not too late to tweak the brand. It's not too late to get the bag. So let's just have this conversation. So
Yeah,
whoosh.
and I'm dying at the comments. Are we having Zoom cookouts this year? Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, wow.
That's so funny.
I ain't mad
I
at
love
that.
it. I love it. That's a good way to spare yourself on some gas. But let's talk about it. So I guess I want to really touch on it from the very beginning, because I think one of the mistakes that I made, and y'all know, man, I don't pretend to be perfect ever anytime I'm on, especially our platform. I don't pretend to be perfect anywhere, but especially on our platform, I tend to be a little bit extra vulnerable because my name is literally half of the show. So I'm like, all right, I gotta bring a little bit something extra to the table here that I don't bring anywhere else. So one of the mistakes that I can honestly say I made is, number one, I think I didn't realize that whether I'm intentional about my personal brand or I'm not intentional about my personal brand, I have a personal brand. And I think a lot of us need to start realizing that a little bit more. Personal brands are not just for entrepreneurs, quite honestly. And this is something that we really don't ever talk about, Nicky, but it probably is something that we need to introduce a little bit more often, which is this idea that personal brands even help people accelerate in their career. It helps people to find opportunities, whether it be an actual work, career opportunity, professional opportunity. It can help you outside of just being an entrepreneur. So we got to get away from the stigma that personal brands only belong to people who are entrepreneurs or those who are content creators looking to make money online, because that is only half the truth. You can have a personal brand, especially if you are someone who is a professional as well, right? You can talk about your career. I mean, it's going to look a little bit different. It's going to feel a little bit different, but that too is a personal brand. So what I realized about when I started online, I was doing a whole bunch of stuff, but I wasn't necessarily intentional. And especially when it came to the money, I knew that I would like to someday make some money from this, but I wasn't really positioning myself from the beginning to make it make sense. I think a lot of us often are caught up in some of our internal issues, which is lack of confidence, fear of putting ourselves out there or actually saying what we do, and then getting to the point where we're still struggling with, should I charge? How much can I charge? Do I charge if they're even my friends and family and relatives or people who knew me from back in the day? The answer is yes to all that, but those are all struggles that come with the beginning of this. How do I go from being just someone who's really talented at something to someone who's trying to now step into their lane, their brand, and actually monetize that brand? So those are a lot of internal hurdles that if I could start over back from day one, I would look to clean up those ahead of time so that I can have an initial rollout plan of going from, hey, this is what I do, to there's a plan, there's a method, there's a process that we're looking to take you on, or a journey to get you to engage with the content, learn from the content, gain value from the brand, and then essentially be able to offer some services or products or concepts that allow for you to make some money. So yeah, I wanted to kind of start from the very beginning, Nix, and kind of just like take it there, right? If you were starting today, forget everything that's happened in the past, but keep the knowledge. If you were starting today, what are the first things that you would work on or think about before rolling out a personal brand that is going to monetize eventually, right? And eventually can be in 1 month, in 6 months, however it may be. But what are some of the things that you would start off in the beginning to help people who are listening to this overcome some of the hurdles that are created, not because you're not talented enough, not because you don't have a logo or any of this stuff, but just because you are in your own way. And like we talked about, afraid to charge, don't know how much to charge, any of those things that often come with the start of the journey.
I think the first thing is, what is the problem we're solving? I think for brand, and it's crazy because a little bit off personal brand, but just brand in general. I just put this up on Instagram where the problem of Instagram like accounts being hacked, like in the past, I don't know, year or two, like that's all I kept hearing. There's literally a company that has creators insurance now
Wow.
that as the day that like 48 hours after you are hacked, you will start getting paid like daily until you could get your account recovered, right? They saw a problem and now they have a solution, right? And so I think the very first thing is like, what problem am I solving with my personal brand? Some people, for certain content creators, the problem that they're solving is that, hey, these corporate brands, these brands, period, don't know how to create content. I could do that for them, right? And create based off their products and services content that they could use, whether for ads, for their social media, for email, whatever it is, right? Other people, whether it's courses, whether it's merchandise, whatever it is, what problem am I solving? Because once you understand the problem, all it is about messaging that particular solution for them to understand. Are you making them aware that there is a problem? Besides just always giving the solution, are you making it aware? Like, all right, I have this solution, but I first have to actually let them know they have a problem. But I can't let them know that until I identify what problem I'm solving, because we go like head first in creating brands. All right, I get it. We are all brands. I'm going to create a website. I'm going to have a logo. I'm going to have my social media. Boom, I am Nicky. Great. Well, what do you do? That's a good question. And who do you help? Now that's another good question. Okay, I get it. But I got my website. I got my social media. I got my logo. This is great. Like, ain't I official? No. What do you solve? The way we give you money is by you solving a problem that no one else can do it the way you do. So you're cute, great, absolutely. You have great personality, absolutely. You're consistent, cool. What problem are you solving? That I want to give you my time. I want to give you my money. I want to give you different referrals. I want to share your stuff so other people can know about you, because what you are doing in the world is something that is needed. But I keep it very simple. What problem are you solving?
Man, that's good. And the fact that you can bring, because insurance is really an old era solution, right?
Yes.
This is not really something that was invented during the digital age. This is something that has been around for at least 100 years, right?
Yep.
So to bring that idea into the digital world and say, man, what about providing insurance? That is pretty fascinating. This idea of bringing insurance to content creators, especially for those who are really rely on Instagram or platforms for their full-time income, that can be a scary thing to get hacked and immediately just lose everything that you've been making. So that is genius. So what are some of the ingredients you would say can go into finding out a specific problem? Because I think that what most people do, they tend to maybe take something that happened on a small scale or a small level, whether it be through their own personal experience or something that they've just talked to a few people about, and they will magnify that problem and say, this is what the masses are experiencing.
Right.
What's the thought on that? I mean, is that sustainable? Is that accurate to say, hey, because me and my little cousins all agree on that this is a problem, then this might be a problem that exists at scale? Or how can we go deeper into this concept of identifying a problem so I don't put all this energy, all this momentum into something, and then I hit some legal issues, some trademark issues, just some issues in general that say, that can't work. That don't exist. As a matter of fact, it's not even big enough for you to work off of. So what goes into identifying the problem?
It's always research. It's always about research. And I was just in a recent like mentorship for YouTube actually, right? And one of the things that, some like brand professionals, even business people would be like, yo, you want to create something that's never been done before, right? Because that's the gap, right? And that's not necessarily true. Like, you really want to research your industry as far as what's already being done and looking at comments, looking at blogs, looking at surveys, and really focusing on, okay, I see this, like this helped, but I still need help in this. Or this is great, but I wish this was being done. Like sometimes just pure conversations can literally tell you the gaps in the industry, because it's really just finding the gaps, not necessarily creating something super brand new. But I could have a pen, I could create pens, and all of a sudden I could get a pen to flip like 9 times and stand, and I'm like, oh, that's never been done before. I'm going to create a brand. The pens, once you're done writing, you could flip it and have it go 9 times. And some people may not need that. You really have to know your audience. You really have to understand. And one of those things of like audience research is, what keeps them up at night? What are they really seeking for? What are some of the internal problems? What do they Google? These are some things you need to understand about your audience, not only just surface level of this is what I can do. And I did it for myself. I did it for, 4 other people, but there's billions of people in the world. Yes, if 4 people need it, there's probably a few more that need it. Absolutely, right? But we have to think of scale and not just a hobby, not just something I do on the side, not a side hustle. Right? How we're talking is more of I'm completely replacing whatever 9 to 5 I'm in. I'm completely creating a career based off this thing that I'm researching, this thing that I have expertise in, this thing that I actually have a love and a passion for, right? So the research within your industry and within your audience needs to happen before anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite parts, and I'm glad that you mentioned that research can also happen in the form of talking to people, right? Because you can, if you for example, are looking to serve a demographic that is well known, right? Let's say, I don't know, single dads. I don't know. I'm just throwing some things out there, right? You can literally Google how many single fathers live in the U.S., right? That you can get a demographic off of that. How many single moms live in the U.S.? How many people, whatever, are looking to accomplish a specific goal? So there are certain things that you can research. But the other thing is you can also speak to people who have that experience or have insider knowledge about an industry that you're looking to work in. So sometimes, some of those things that we're talking about Googling can be very personable. They seem like very, it's almost like a one-to-one thing that we're trying to provide to them. But you'll be surprised that what happens when speaking to people who operate and mix within an industry, how helpful that can be. I actually remember the very first thing that I started doing, if you all remember way back now. I mean, it's probably 5 years now. But one of my objectives was to speak to students in the school system, specifically first generation immigrant students who were on the DACA program. So notice like how super niche down. At the time, I was like, man, I'm super unique. Ain't nobody on God's green earth going to be looking to do that. And this is kind of my struggle around the niche idea of niching down, right, Nick? Because I felt like I went so zoomed in that what I started to do, especially in a space like that, I violated a discrimination law. So after about a year and a half into this process, doing exactly what you explained, I didn't start at the research. I started at the looking good part. I started at the logo. I started at the website. I started at the videos and the content, all of that. Zero research. I finally reconnected with my guidance counselor, who was my counselor when I was in high school. I was like, oh, this is what I'm trying to do. And she's like, this is great. I even invite you to come speak at my school, but I do want to let you know we can't give you like specific time with the demographic that you want to work with, because that would violate a discrimination law. We're not allowed to ask students about their immigration status. And I was like, damn, bro, like had I known that.
That's crazy.
2 years ago, I would not be in this space. Right. So to your point about research, when you're thinking about a problem to solve, the research needs to come before the looking good part. Like the research is the ugly, boring, sit your butt down and talk to people and reach out and read and listen to podcasts and see how others have done it so you can save yourself that time. Literally, I'm telling you, 18 months worth of work was wiped out in an instant because I said, that makes sense. I totally overlooked the fact that I can't ask schools to give me a specific demographic because that would violate, even if I had good intention. So I definitely wanted to highlight that because the research part is critical and a lot of us overlook that.
Yeah, and another thing to consider even before the logo, because trust me, we want to get to the logo. We want to get like we want to get to the logo and the pretty stuff, because like for some reason, because the visualization makes it feel real, right? So it's still very needed. So I don't want to ever downplay it. We'll get there, but what is the story? I mean, like the story also comes in play. Even for me right now, I'm now kind of like mapping out what is the story for me, right? Like reevaluating, and we spoke about it on, past lives of like, what are your boundaries of what people will know about you and what they won't, what are you leading with expertise, and that kind of stuff. Like, what are people getting to know about you? Because this still has a personal side of the branding. It's called a personal brand, right? So and people connect with stories. People connect from where you're from what year you were born, from the style of clothes you wear, the slang that you speak, the language that you speak, everything from the music you listen to, from the hobbies. People connect with that, but you also want to take them through a story. So if you've ever paid attention to some of your favorite podcasts, and you can say us, but I'm not going to only speak about us. One of the main things that they do with their guests is they ask about the story.
Yeah.
Tell us about yourself, right? Why do they want to do that before they get into the information? Is because they want their audience to connect with them. Like, they want to feel relatable of, oh, okay, this person came up the same way, or this person understands this obstacle. This person, went to the same school. They want the audience to connect first and foremost through story, then get into the information and the education or whatever they want to talk about, right? And that's something that we have to be very intentional with when we are becoming a brand. What is our story? What are we willing to speak on? What are we not willing to speak on? Are we going to start with, well, when I was 5 and that inspired you to be where you are? Are you going to start with just a few years ago? Something tragic happened? Are you going to speak on something that tragic that happened that got you to where you are? But there has to be a brand story of somewhat shape or form, and not from just the brand story as we usually speak on it, which is like the hero, which is your audience, the villain, which is the pain points, the guide, which is you. This is literally your story. Like, who are you? And what are you willing people to truly understand about you, right? And some things don't necessarily need to be said sometimes, right? Yeah. But you still want to make it known that I will never hide how New Yorkish I am. Never do that, right? We don't even hide that from the podcast. You see it, a darn Empire State Building in between us. Like, our podcast cover has the 7 train. Like, it is what it is. The things that we have coming up is inspired by New York and Queens and everything like that. So there's certain things you want to make sure that you let the people know in order to connect with you. If you don't, if you just go pure expertise, pure education, pure about your business, we'll need it, but we won't feel connected to you. We won't be relatable. And that's the thing that you can have up on corporate brands, right? Is that, oh, I rock with you. You're going to make mistakes because you're human. Companies, I'm going to ask for my money back. Easy. No problem. But I may have a little bit more patience.
Man, this is so crazy. Yeah, hey, if y'all are getting some value from this, just put like a yeah in the chat. Literally, just put yeah. I'm getting a lot of value. This is so good. This is so good, and I want to make sure you guys catch what Nicky just shared here. I love how you said the hero is your audience, and not you or me as the personal brand. Right? That's critical, because a lot of us, I think, when we're starting off, or even when we're deep into it, this desire for wanting to project a perfect persona, a perfect personality, a perfect life, and all around, I am the best thing that's happened since sliced bread, is not always needed. Like, I understand the importance of credibility and saying, hey, you got to prove that you're the one credible to speak on this specifically. But I love that you're saying, no, the hero in this case needs to be the audience, and you just have to be the guide. So you can be an imperfect person trying to help others accomplish something, especially if you have credibility in the space. So I don't know. I just love that you said that. Maybe you could speak on a little bit more, because I think a lot of times we feel this pressure because we know that somebody's feed on social, or the videos, what we see in their videos, their ads, their this, we overlook a lot of the things that you would say sometimes is like, you don't think about how much of a team they got or how many people they got as part of their team. So when you put it that way, it's like, no, be mindful of where you're starting in your journey, and just know that you don't have to be the hero. Right. You can be the guide and make your audience members the hero, and they will come back and chat you to be king or queen. I love that. That's good.
But so think about it, like, and I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings by being this blunt, but we don't care about you. Like, first interaction, hello, how are you? I don't care about you yet, right? So when it comes to, we're not friends just yet. Understand this. When we meet each other on social media, through an ad, whatever it is, podcast, we're not friends just yet. You're clearly checking out, what can this person do for me? Right? So when you as the brand, make it about you. Look what I can do. This is all the things I can do. I've done this, and I could do this. Okay, good for you. Bravo. What does that have to? I've been on this, and I've been on here, and I've been on this, and I have this award, and I have this. Great, absolutely. What does this have to do with me? Right?
Yeah.
We click off when we don't hear language that you are making it about us. And so when we're thinking of the overall brand story, right? Not just your personal story, but the overall brand story, we have to remember that we are here to serve the audience, right? And granted, serving doesn't only mean free, all right? People still have to pay something in order to get these particular service products, whatever. But we are here as a brand to serve the people. So we have to guide them into the right direction. We are not ever the main character. We are never the hero. We are never it's not about us once we say, you know what? I'm going to create a brand. I have a solution to this particular problem. That doesn't make you a hero because you have a solution, right? It is still it's still something you have to guide them and be like, look, this is the journey you're going to have to get through in order to have this transformation. I'm going to be there with you. I'm going to help you get through it. Actually, I have a few shortcuts. You don't even have to go the long journey. You don't even have to continue to go straight. You'll go around this corner, go through this back alley. Boom, you get the transformation earlier. They can't do that on their own. If they could, they would have. Mm-hmm. But they get attracted to you because you are now making it about them and you're making them feel like they could do it as well. Like you're not hand holding, like you're not saying, okay, I did it all for you. Some people are going to want that in certain situations, right? But there are people that are like, yo, I still want to feel accomplished somehow, some way. Mm-hmm. And so that's where, when you really embody the guide part about it, like, yo, I'm here just to make sure you're good and it's just about you, people rock with you.
Yeah. And that's why I literally started this thing, and you're kind of giving me the verbiage to bring it together so you can sound catchy. You got to heal before you could be a hero. Right? Like this is why I said you can't start this pursuit or this process so that you can get some form of validation or affirmation to make you feel good about something that was missing or lacking in your life. Believe it or not, it's not going to get resolved when you step out and make yourself available to the world. It's only going to get bigger. But the minute that you recognize that, okay, let me this is an inside out job. And I've been saying that a lot because I do feel that that's our best way to guarantee success. You got to work from the inside out. The more you work on you, the more that people are going to see that confidence come up. The more you work on you, the more they're going to be convicted of your credibility and your ability to help them. So don't rely on entrepreneurship, creative entrepreneurship, content creation, branding, any of this stuff as a crutch to help build your self-esteem, because it will collapse. People are not going to give you the validation and the acceptance that you want right away, especially if they have to pay for it. Right? That's a lot to ask. Think about this. You're asking for someone to give you their money and only give you nice words, even if you don't follow through on some of the promises that you said you're going to make. That's just too much, right? At the end of the day, we live in a real world. And while we would love to see that everyone is encouraging and welcoming and happy and supportive, that is not always the case, especially if someone is not getting value or you're not doing something for them. So when you satisfy that human instinct to say, okay, nope, I get it. For me to get what I need, I have to give you what you need. So let me practice that art of delayed gratification and make sure I'm doing a dang good job at delivering on the promises that I make and solving the problems that you're experiencing. That way, it becomes easy for me to get what I need from you. whether that be monetary exchange, some of these other things that we talked about. So I do have to emphasize, and sorry to take you back to the place of when you were 5, as Nicky will call it, but I'm gonna have to do it real quick. You have to heal before you can help. You have to heal before you appear as the hero. All of those things are necessary. You have to be good before you step out into the world and really start carrying, that pressure or that responsibility of having to be a voice for a group of people, because essentially that's what it is. So yeah, I wanted to throw that in there too, Nick, because that's like, it's so spot on when you talk about your story and all of these things that come with it. I just see a lot of times people come to entrepreneurship or they come to these journeys for validation. It's like, man, you have to do that.
I agree. Now, the next part, I'm gonna need your help, because once again, before we get through the visualization part of making it real in life, like, we have to kind of have the business part of it. And I'll admit, like, being in certain environments, I've been so on the, like, just go out there and we'll figure it out, right? We'll figure it out. It'll make sense. Grow this, and then we'll arrange things and set up the back systems later on. Okay. Yep. Like, I know from my mistakes that I could literally tell somebody, you have 100 followers, you could monetize right now. Mm-hmm. Right. And set it up. You don't have no followers. You still have a system for when somebody comes through, there's already something for them. Right. Because you don't know what level they're in. They may be ready to go, and they don't necessarily need to be nurtured. So I'm going to ask you, like, what are some beginning steps in order to get the personal brand in the vibe of making money early?
Yeah. And this is where I say the plan comes into place. All right. This is where a plan is super essential, and you have to make some decisions early on. You can always change those decisions down the line, but in the beginning, you have to have a position that you stand on. You can't just dibble and dabble and choose what side you want to be on, depending on what side of the bed you woke up on today, right? There has to be some level of consistency or some things that you figure out ahead of time. What do I mean by that? I mean, are you going to be a premium brand, an exclusive brand, or are you going to be a brand that's regularly available? You give some of these examples, right? Are you going to be a brand that is a Dollar Tree, right? And don't think of Dollar Tree as, oh man, that's cheap, that's whack, that's no good. Listen, Dollar Tree, and maybe somebody can Google this for us real quick. How many stores does Dollar Tree have in the US alone? I just want to show you guys that you can make a ton of money even selling a bunch of items for 99 cents or less. Right? Yeah, and we know they have some things that are not 99, but I'm just saying, understand the concept, the difference between, this is the business model part of it, Dollar Tree versus Louis Vuitton. You're not going to find nothing. As a matter of fact, they're probably going to kick you out of the store if you say to someone at Louis Vuitton, hey, do you have something I could buy for $1? But at Dollar Tree, they're going to welcome you with open arms. And heck, you might even get lucky and get a couple of items, right? If you buy the right thing, if you walk in and say, hey, can I buy something for $1? But in the beginning, even with your own personal brand, you have to have a plan and say, what type of brand do I want to be? And the things that follow need to be in alignment with what you're after. You can't just set your plan based on your ambition. Heck, if we all wanted, we'd be like, yo, I want to sell $1 million product and just sell one of those a year, and I'm done for the year. Okay, does your lifestyle match the $1 million price point? Does your solution or return on investment match and far outweigh the $1 million price point, right? There's a lot that comes with it. So you have to really think about, do I have other elements and things and criteria that can be in alignment so that when I say, hey, this is what I charge, or this is the type of brand that I'm putting out there, it's believable, it's in alignment, it really mixes well. So you have to take a lot of things into consideration. But I will say, in short, and I think somebody just said 115 according to Wiki. So that just shows you, I mean, that's a lot more stores than,
You mean 15,000?
let's just say.
You mean 15,000?
15? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, hey, that's a lot of stores. Let's just say that. That's a lot of stores. Okay.
I'm like, there's a comma.
Oh, 15,115. Wow. Wow. I don't know why I just thought you said either 15 or 115. So I was like, oh, okay.
I was like, there's
My goodness.
clear comma.
My goodness. Yeah. No, but look at that. Even Vaughn, shout out to Vaughn. Dollar General has over 17,000 stores in 46 states. Just see my point, right? That you can be an available, affordable, not cheap. There's a difference, by the way. And I think I told you guys this lesson when I was shopping at a car dealership with my uncle once, and the gentleman, the salesperson that was helping us, walked up to the manager and said, oh, we want to know what is the cheapest car on the lot. He said, we don't have cheap cars. We have affordable cars. It's the least, we can show you the least affordable cars, because cheap means that exactly what it means. It can break easily. It's disposable. It's dispensable. It's not valuable. So you can be available and affordable, right? But not cheap. And to my point exactly, you just have to decide, what do you want to do? Do you want to help a ton of people? Do you have capacity to help a ton of people? Or do you only want to help select people in, throughout your entire process? Because that's literally all you can do. Maybe your process or your service is so sophisticated, so detailed, so precise, and so long, it takes so much time that you can only take maybe 3 to 5 people through it at a time. So it makes sense, right? It can't just be a goal strictly off of ambition. There have to be some elements that make sense, and you got to reason with your logic or with your process to make it what it is. So I would say, when it comes to your start is going to determine your scale. Your start is going to determine your scale. You got to make some of these decisions ahead of time. So when you start rolling out your brand and you start making something available, it now makes sense with some of the groundwork that you've laid out.
So what do you tell people in the beginning? Because I know, based off past experiences, is like, I don't have a product, I don't have a service. What would you kind of suggest as maybe like a very first thing that they could, see some type of return instead of just likes and comments and traffic and everything like that? What is an easy way of return that may give somebody momentum in the very beginning?
Yeah, you have to determine the specific point in your process, and really take some time to think about your process, right? Whatever it may be that you're making available to the marketplace. And for this example, I'm just going to speak to service-based businesses or service-based brands for a moment. There's a process or a solution or a convenience or something that you offer to your clients through the service that you make available to them, right? So you have to determine, at what point in that service can I make things available for free? But at what point you have to pay, you have to make an investment to get the rest of it, right? Think about most professional businesses. Shout out to Vaughn again, who's on here. An accountant, right? Most accountants, not all, but most accountants are going to give you a free consultation, right? They're going to speak to you to better understand what are your needs and how they can help you for free. They're not going to charge you for a 15, 30 minute, maybe even an hour long consultation with them. Some lawyers will do the same, right? A lot of the professionals, especially in the service-based industry, they understand that some of those things are free. Well, you might say, well, what could be free for me as a content creator or a personal brand that's strictly operating online? Well, you can think of some of your videos, the content that you put out, that's free, right? They're meant to be small size tidbits that somebody can just digest in a few seconds or a short minute to get value from to keep going, but it's not anything too inclusive or too detailed that will require you to invest more time and energy into it. So you need to determine, and I'm just giving some examples, but you have to determine what part of my process can I make available to the public for free, and what part of my process is you have to now cross through some form of paywall, or you have to make some form of investment to get to the other side of it, right? Think of this as free to pay. All right, it's free to pay, meaning that I'm going to make some things available to you for free. Again, that could be my consultation, that can be my content online, that can be a free ebook or something that I make available to you that you could just download at your convenience for absolutely free. But there has to be a hook where it captures someone's attention to say, I want to know more. You just taught me how I can save $30 a month so that I don't die broke, but you're saying I can also save $100 a month, even if I only make X amount of dollars. How do I do that? What's the trick that you're holding off? Well, to get that next one, you have to make an investment of $9.99, $19.99. And that investment details out how they can accomplish the promise that you're making. So that's a simple free to pay model where someone can come to you for a specific problem, as you mentioned. It hooks them through the story. They're gaining value, and they're learning about you and your credibility throughout some of the things that you make available to them. But once they engage and they want to go further, you're asking for an exchange here so that you can provide the rest of the value.
I like that. No questions I wanted to ask you. That's it.
No, that was good. Talk about, just because I see we're in that final half now, or the final quarter, based on time. Let's talk about the expansion mode. All right. So let's kind of speed ahead a little bit. I have started laying out. I've been in the industry for some time. My brand is down packed. I got the consistency. I've operated in several products or services or some sort that is generating income, but I'm now hitting a ceiling, and I'm like, man, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
But I feel like I can do more, or I want to do more. I have ambition to do more. What are the adjustments that start to happen in someone's brand to prepare them for big money or big ROI down the line?
Yeah, it's a whole brand strategy. You just have to reevaluate some things. If you hit a ceiling, it's more of, okay, where are we at? What are we doing? Right? What has worked? What hasn't? And where am I trying to go? Sometimes we get so caught up in the work and what's been working, right? And just being in that same system that we're not, we know we're in the ceiling, but we haven't had the time to think of new ideas, think of new strategies, think of, why don't we experiment with this and that, right? So it's more on taking the time to just reevaluate and come up with a whole new strategy. So, like, once again, kind of going back to just tweaking, okay, my personal brand story, is that still aligned with where I'm at right now? What are my boundaries? Am I available, or am I limited and exclusive, right? Where am I trying to go based off the industry, right? What are some of am I seeing new gaps? Or am I so stuck on how I started in the beginning that I'm not even seeing when there was a shift or when there was a new opportunity, right? So if we hit that ceiling, we have to take a step back and go back in our strategy bag. We have to go on, let's look at where the traffic is coming from. And are we putting our attention on the right places that the traffic is coming from? Or are we trying to spread ourselves way too thin on this new thing over here and this new thing over here and this new trend over here? What is the important part? The important part is where our audience is, where the most impact is, and where the bag is. I'm not going to continue to ignore that I'm getting a few sales here, but I'm trying to create followers over here, or I'm trying to start a whole new platform over here, or start a new type of content over here. No, I need to, instead of making 2 sales, I need to make 8 sales. I need to make 10 sales. But there's a proven thing right here, because consistently I'm making sales over here, but I'm paying attention to this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's always going to be taking the step back, reevaluating, really being good with the stats and the facts, right? And then saying, am I having time to really think of what's past this ceiling? Do I even know what's past this ceiling? I know I'm here, but do I know what's past there? And we can't get past the ceiling because we don't even know what's on the other side.
Yeah.
Because we haven't spent that time.
Yeah, man, that's good. That's good. Yeah, because I feel like when you get to that point, by definition, your process starts over. You can be in the industry, and by the way, Darius, I see your question. That's a phenomenal question, and I'm super excited to answer it. So give me just 90 seconds. I'm gonna answer that one for sure. But when I say the process starts over, you can be in an industry or a lane that's making money, but you want to make more money. So you have to go back into your research mode and figure out, is there a bigger problem in your space that you can now solve, or that you're qualified to solve because of how long you've been operating in it, right? This is what many people know as vertical integration. It's the process of cutting out the middleman, because you've been in the space long enough that you might start to see like, yo, I've been working with this. I built a connection with the direct supplier or the direct manufacturer, and I can go to them directly and improve my margins or improve my chances at XYZ. Or you just find out about new grants or new funding or new laws, right? And you can get as technical as you want with this, but this is why certain people are in politics, or, you know, like, and again, I'm not trying to scare anybody off, but the truth is there are so many different levels of business that exist. And if you want to make money, that is one of the ways that you can do it. You can start looking up your alleyway and say, what other problems exist in my lane or exist for my demographic or audience that I serve, and what is that problem worth to them? Because I can now strategically set myself up to make that jump, add that as a complementing service or product, and set myself up to make more money. So that I would say at some point your process has to start over if your desire is to make more money. So definitely kind of keep that in mind. Now, Darius, to your question, Darius asked, how would you use free to pay for a product when those initial costs come out of your pocket? So great question, right? Great question. Now, here is 2 ways in which you can do that. The first, and this is actually a lot more popular for people who sell books, and they're still getting some form of commitment from someone because they know exactly what you said, right? It has to cost something when a product is involved. So let's say you get 100 books, 100 copies of your ebook, 100 copies of whatever it may be, and there is some cost involved. Now, truth is, when you manufacture a product at scale or you mass produce a product, there are certain thresholds that you reach that can significantly bring down your cost. I've dealt with manufacturers overseas in China, and the more that you buy, the less that you pay per product, right? That's known. It's the same thing with publishers and people who are in printing. The more that you buy, the less that you can pay. So you might have seen this campaign out there, which is pretty popular, which is pay for shipping, I'll send you the book for free, all right? Pay for shipping, I'll send you the book for free. In most cases, shipping is going to be, I don't know, $7.99, $9.99. You can express ship it. What you don't know, Darius, is that most people will put the cost of the product, say the printing cost, the manufacturing cost, whatever it may be, as well as shipping into that shipping cost, that flat fee that they make available to you, so that they can fulfill the commitment of free to pay. And then they can kind of start you down their customer journey. So for your product, I would say think about or figure out what is the metric that you have to operate within to get a baseline bottom dollar cost per product of whatever it is, so that you can start figuring out, okay, that plus shipping is how much, and I can use that campaign. I can say, pay for shipping, I'll give you this product completely free. By definition, you did meet that promise or obligation, but you just factored in the cost differently so that you can cover your bases and you're not losing money on trying to acquire new customers. The second is you can do a 30-day money back guarantee. And this is kind of like going back into old age, but quite honestly, it works because you got to remember that psychological safety is one of those things that is very important for humans. So once I know that you have taken all the risk off of this purchase, I feel a lot better about doing it. So if I put $100 up for your product and you say, hey, if I don't like it, I can return it back in 30 days. Oh, absolutely. I don't mind doing it because I can pay you $100. I'll get the product physically in my hand. I can try it. I can see if I like it. And if not, I'll send it back and get my money. I feel pretty good about that as well. I think that's why Amazon is doing a phenomenal job. If you think about some of these bigger corporations, Amazon, Costco, Best Buy, you get a product, you can open it and use it for some time. And if you don't like it, you can always send it back and get whether store credit or something like that. So I would say between those two models, you but you should be able to work something out there where you can get more customers to feel comfortable in investing with you. And then you can they can start their customer journey. And then you'd have to still figure out though, how do I get them to the next level of an actual paid commitment so that it doesn't, there isn't no free or money back guarantee involved at that point.
That's so good. That's so good. Here's Isaiah. You mean it's not $25.99 to ship my free book?
Right.
It happens. It was good.
Yeah. Listen, this was a fire topic. No, you definitely set us up in a major way.
I mean, I try once in a while. I try. Yeah. Look, people. Shout out. Oh, hold on. Wait, I saw it. There it is. Wow. Shout out to Vaughn for the blessings. We see you. We appreciate it. And if we added value, definitely hit that super chat or super thanks, however you are watching this. Check out the podcast, episode 92. All right. I forgot what I labeled it. It was like 5 steps to becoming a thought leader in your industry. I think that's what I called it. You know what I mean? Trying to get better with these titles. You feel me? You're trying to get better with these titles. I want you to know what we're doing out here. Right. The full video drops every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. So go check that out. The after show drops around the same time. So go support that. We love you. That's it. That's all we got. This was great. Thank you, Moves.
Indeed. Yeah, no, thank you, man. I appreciate this. And shout out to everybody in the comments, man, who's been showing love and engaging. I hope this was valuable for you. And share this with a couple friends, man. Anyone who's thinking about started a brand recently, share this with them, man. Don't let them avoid some of the mistakes that we've made and we see other people making. And it's like, man, some of this stuff can really be avoided with a little bit of thinking, a little bit of research, a little bit of healing, because I still got to keep mixing in that human element, and it tends to work out pretty good.
Oh my God, we gotta get Isaiah a mug. I can't with him anymore. This man has brought up a mug ever since we got it for free. But
right.
Shout out to